Famcast Media. Bitch.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, persons of all ages, welcome to the most exclusive group in the wrestling community. And now, your hosts, first, from Oahu, Puerto Rico, Macho Rodriguez, and his tag team partner from New Brunswick, Canada, God's King, Tyler.
Mi gente, ¿cómo estamos? Welcome to another edition of Must Love Wrestling. And Tyler, the talent, the Canadian nightmare, the only nightmare not named Rhea Ripley that I want to be a part of. I love it. So Tyler, how you doing? Welcome back to the United States of the Americas, the shit show that it is. Welcome back from Canada. How was your trip?
Yeah, they had to push me across the border. I had my hands on both sides of the thing, and they had to push me back. It was a really good time. Got to see some people I haven't seen in a long time, meet some new people, and
That's great, man. That's great. Were
Makes
you able
it-
to see the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be?
Bret Hart did not make his way to Riverglade Speedway, unfortunately.
But you happened to be close to where the screw job happened.
I was, I did have a connecting flight in Montreal.
Oh, man.
I believe I messaged you that I was in the place where Bret Hart tapped out to the sharpshooter.
Oh, get the fuck out of here. Listen, already, look we're 2 minutes in, already dropping F-bombs here.
I watched one of those Cultaholic or whatever videos this week, and it was like best pay-per-view finishes ever, and I was like, I don't see why Survivor Series 97 isn't on there.
Oh my God, because it didn't finish with the sharpshooter. It finished with him spitting on Vince McMahon, which actually nowadays that would be a great finish to the pay-per-view, wouldn't it?
Everyone just lines up and does it.
Yeah, if you made one of those Cultaholic end of pay-per-views, it would have to be 2 Bret Hart ones, right? Because doesn't he curse him out after a cage match too?
That's on Raw, but yeah, that's a good one.
Okay, yeah, that is a good one. Well, Tyler, we are here tonight because we are going to do a quick review on AEW All In, because obviously you didn't get a chance to watch all of it due to the fact that you were in Canada with family, so that takes precedent. But you did get a chance to watch all of Bash in Berlin, right?
Yeah, I actually just finished watching it maybe half hour ago.
Perfect. So it's fresh on your memory, and here in 2024, that's what we're all about. We're all about hyperbole and prisoner of the moment, so we'll get your immediate reactions. So we'll do AEW All In after Bash in Berlin, because you just finished the PLE, and I want to jump right into it. So before we dissect match by match, why don't you tell us what you thought of the show?
Okay. So I know we've praised Triple H for a lot of things, and also we've even said that sometimes the predictable thing is the right thing, but I think this was too predictable.
Really? Okay.
I think a 5-year-old could have called the winner of every match.
Okay.
And the only other complaint I have, because they were still good matches, they were still entertaining, the art was still good. I didn't love some of and I don't know that I even disagree with some of the creative. I might have just done different things. The commentary was just brutal.
So
Michael Cole was 2005 Michael Cole. No, where's Corey Graves? Why is he not there?
I don't know, man. He's got a fresh kid right out the oven. He's got 2 more.
Oh, that could be.
He also has. It's got to be. Can't leave Carmelo alone all the time, man. He's got 3 kids.
Because he was the third man in the booth for most pay-per-views, was he not?
Yeah.
Yeah. because Wade Barrett's heel bit was just a little overbearing, and Michael Cole was 2005 levels of bad.
Yeah, the Wade Barrett stuff comes off almost like he only studies Nigel McGuinness. His hatred
Nigel's
for
so
CM
much better.
Punk.
He's so much better,
No,
though.
I agree wholeheartedly, but the similarities between Wade Barrett and CM Punk and Nigel McGuinness and Bryan Danielson are so close together. And for the fact that all of these men have feuded with each other, Barrett has feuded with Punk, and Nigel and Bryan, well, that's a legendary feud. I just think that when you do something like that, like, you're not Jerry the King Lawler, and that's not Bret the Hitman Hart in the ring. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you're not Jerry the King Lawler. I'm not going to say that CM Punk's not Bret Hart because he's at the level of importance, obviously nowhere near the level of talent inside the squared circle, but still, it's just, I agree with you. The commentating is just horrendous. Your eyes there. You think CM Punk's as good as Bret Hart in the ring?
I mean, they're not the same at all, so it's hard to say. But I mean, I've enjoyed CM Punk's matches a lot. I think Bret Hart is the most talented, or I think Bret Hart is the best I've ever seen, just because of the realism of his matches. But I mean, that's a subject that's hard for me to like really come up with. Okay, this guy's the best, because it's so subjective.
Yeah, I agree. I like Triple H's answer, even though I do have my personal Mount Rushmore. I love that Triple H refuses to answer this because he says it's disrespectful to guys from the past. He says that there's people in the present, there's people from the past. There's just too many to drop a Mount Rushmore. I think if you have a Mount Rushmore, it's a personal thing.
Yeah, and that's true, and that's for sure. And I love what Seth Rollins did, where he did, like, okay, these guys are
the workers and the money makers,
superstars, and these guys, make money, and these guys are the workers. That's one reason too that I love the Gunther Randy Orton match, because it was different from everything else that we saw today. The pace was slower.
Well, it's the Spider-Man meme.
Exactly. That's what wrestling is these days.
No, I'm saying those two wrestlers.
Well,
they were so similar to each other. Yeah.
That too. If you are training to be a wrestler, watch the start of this match. They barely did anything, and the crowd was going insane.
Yeah. Yep. They let the crowd lead them. They followed the crowd, and that was the story. But we'll talk about that because that was the main event, and it was a proper main event. Why don't we jump into the opening match, which was the WWE Undisputed Champion, Cody Rhodes, versus a man that, Jesus, should have gotten this opportunity long ago. Just saying, not having enough world title matches for Kevin Owens is just a crying shame. The guy is spectacular. I saw a lot of great things on the interwebs about this match. I personally like the match. I have a hiccup of the match, and I text you about it during it. But other than that, Tyler, what'd you think of this match?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it happened. It was what you would expect it to be between those two guys. I didn't think it was anything special. But it was what it was supposed to be. It was Kevin Owens was there to give Cody someone to beat who was a credible challenger, and he put in a shift and did his work, and Cody gets the win. Looks strong.
Yeah,
I'll let you talk about the gripe we both have with the match.
I wasn't aware that you agreed with that. I know you said you didn't disagree with it.
In general, it's a thing that's overdone.
Okay. I guess what I'll have to say about the match is I really enjoyed it. I made a comment on Twitter. I feel like people are saying that Kevin Owens has no fight in him because he didn't attack him and they want to heel Kevin back. Listen, I think that if you're a fan of Kevin Owens, Kevin Steen, you know that Mr. Wrestling was neither a babyface or a heel. He was just Mr. Wrestling Kevin Steen. And what I saw today was a character choice, almost like we need you to go out there. We want the crowd to stay behind you. So that way, when you eventually make the turn as a heel, it'll mean more because the crowd's going to be like, ah, man, but you were so close to just doing the right thing. And I thought it was fine. The match itself was good. My personal gripe with the match, I'll just tell you what it was, and then you can kind of elaborate on it because you're just way better with words. You might be able to break it down more for our viewers to understand why. I do not appreciate that finishers in professional wrestling have turned into the super kick party. The super kick party was a troll thing. They did it and it got them over, the young bucks I'm speaking of, because fans pointed out the amount of super kicks that they did and they loved Shawn Michaels. And it was just so many reasons why. But for the most part, they're trolls. They do this stuff because they know this is the best way to get heat. And it's just the overutilization of it. I mean, when I text you, technically it was 6 because we had already had one Crossroads earlier in the match, but in consecutive order, we had a Stone Cold Stunner, we had Crossroads, Stunner. In consecutive order. That was move. And I was just like, what finish does that help? And that's how I felt immediately. I was just like, oh man. And I had a great comment from a friend of mine. I copy and pasted it to you, that he said that it's like wrestling someone in like Raw versus SmackDown and having them spam finish you. Yeah, I mean, what did you think? What do you think about that?
What was it? Eric Bischoff, the word he used to describe AEW, what was it? Indie-rific?
Indie-rific, yes.
That's exactly what that is. That's something you would expect to see on a mid-level indie show. It's not necessary. It doesn't do either guy any favors. Yeah, it makes them look a little tougher maybe, but like at the same time, it diminishes their finish so much.
Agreed.
It's not, guys, it's not a false finish if you don't believe it could possibly be the finish. And when someone hits their finisher for the first time, it's just like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, agreed. And here's the thing. This is one of my biggest issues with one specific move. We have learned that the Crossroads is going to take more than one time in a match. This is how Cody has shown us that this is his wrestling move. It's not the one-wing angel. It's not Swerve's finish that Brian kicked out and nobody's ever kicked out. It's not Oblivion that...
It's also like his third best move, so...
Yeah. It's not Oblivion that Rhea's the only person to kick out of Oblivion. Like, it's... You know, it's not one of those moves. But you know what move is? The Stone Cold Stunner. And when Kevin Owens is a guy who main events WrestleMania against Stone Cold, a guy who contacted Austin and asked him if he could use the finisher, and Austin himself said, yeah, man, go for it. Like, that move should be used. It's a great move. That move should be respected as such. It is widely regarded the greatest finishing move of all time, and they just made it just another move today. Like,
well, I mean, the Diamond Cutter says hi, but you know.
I mean, but that's a personal preference. But for the most part, I mean, we're going to talk about the Will Ospreay thing in a minute, and I'm going to use your point. Like, when it's like 90% of the world is saying that the Stunner's the best. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of one of those things. Like, it's a personal preference. You like the Diamond Cutter. I think that move's great, too. I think the Scorpion Death Drop should be mentioned also, and Macho Man's Elbow Drop. But,
yeah.
I mean, it's... That's just kind of how it's just one of those things. I think 2024 has just kind of made it where false finish is not a thing anymore.
Yeah, I mean, we just can't have nice things anymore. That's what it is.
I'm here.
You froze there for the folks, I believe.
Oh, okay.
You said false finish isn't a thing anymore.
Yeah, I said false finish isn't a thing anymore. It's kind of like kayfabe is dead. That's kind of how I feel about it. Like,
well, sure.
It's become that. But other than that, I thought the match was
I like to
great.
pretend once in a while, though. You know.
Yeah, me too. Like, I want that. Like, I love it. Like, we're gonna talk about All In, and we're gonna talk about a specific spot in the Bryan and Swerve match that I loved, and I think I may have texted you about
the one
that.
you sent me. Yeah.
Yeah, where I was
Yeah.
just like, this worked, and it worked. You know, I just thought it worked. But anyway, yeah, I thought this match was decent. Did you like the way it ended with the hugging and the helping him back? Like, did you like that, or did you kind of want Kevin Owens to just walk away?
No, I like it because it makes us think we're safe.
Yeah,
we're not safe. But
we're not safe. Absolutely not.
We're not safe.
We're not safe. And you want to know who's crying the blues today? Besides a lot of like anti-Cody people, you want to know who's crying the blues today? The people that tried to convince you that Jade Cargill wasn't going to get better. Because that tag match between those 4 women was the best performance Jade Cargill has turned in WWE. The best performance she's given us thus far. It was announced the other day she had just eclipsed 111 matches in WWE. That's insane. She hasn't even been there that long. 111 matches already, and she's gotten this good after 111. I can't wait to see where she's at when she hits that 300 mark. Yes. She's been working live events nonstop, and I think that's what's helping her.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's what she should be doing.
Exactly. So what did you think of this match?
I thought it was good. I thought you were going to say it was the match of the night for a second. I was going to reach through there and pie face you.
No.
No, it was a good match. I enjoyed it. That's just this. So I saw live. I watched the first match and this one, and I thought it was really good. I actually think I like this one a little better than the opener.
Yeah, I agree. I thought that's kind of how I felt like throughout the whole thing, except for if we're going to do that where every match was better than the last, then I would have the Terror Twins next. That match next.
Yeah.
Because I did like that match, but I really like the strap match. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. I think this was fairly obvious. We knew that Jade and Bianca were going to win this match. I didn't expect otherwise. I mean, we didn't know if there was going to be any interruptions, new people added to Isla, and what was the other one's name? I'm sorry. Alba and Isla. Yes. I didn't know if there was going to be an added person to them. I know they have Brie with them now, but it just kind of feels like this was exactly what it needed to be. Because if we're looking forward to this, we're either going to get Shawn Michaels, John Cena, tag champs walking in facing each other at WrestleMania, or we're going to get Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Shawn Michaels at King of the Ring, tag champs facing each other in a one-time grudge match. But I think that the end game is Jade versus Bianca at WrestleMania. I think that's where we're headed, and this is the best way to do it. One of them is going to betray the other one when they lose the championships. So, but since we're talking about betrayal and we're talking about grudges, why don't we jump into quite possibly the best story in all of professional wrestling in the past 12 months, which is CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. Tyler, why don't you kick us off with your thoughts?
Oh my God, this match was so much better than the SummerSlam match. I liked it so much more. Yeah, I just think everything was, and so I know we talked about spamming finishers earlier, and the difference between that and the 5 GTSs or whatever it was, is
no, there was 5 in the match.
It was 5, okay. I knew he did like 3 towards the end. Is each one of them was just filled with hatred. It wasn't just like, oh, I'm going to try to beat you. It was like, no, I want to inflict as much punishment as possible on you.
Yes. I agree. The best CM Punk performance since the last time he wore those trunks. For those who don't know, that is the trunks. That is the set that he wore at AEW All-In last year. There are side-by-side photos all over the interwebs right now. The best performance he's put on. Yeah, he really is a troll. And man, he looked great. I think the CM Punk haters are crying the blues because I've said this about Jade Cargill, and I may have overstepped when I said this when she was in AEW, but what I will say is that CM Punk is designed for the WWE style. And young CM Punk, 20s CM Punk, was designed for AEW style. But now, the Punk we're getting, the Punk we got in AEW, is a WWE wrestler. And you can tell by the way he works. He's methodical. Everything they did. This was one of those things where you have described the final Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega match almost like he had to win that match. And I know we're going to get CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre 3, but this match felt like Punk had to win it. Everything he did, hitting the early GTS, catching the Claymore and bleeding, then for him to, for them to use the Sting Invader touching the turnbuckles, I loved it. That is one of my all-time favorite feuds in professional wrestling. Like Vader's touching the turnbuckles, and Sting is tapping him on the way around.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah, I think that's a standard spot in these type of matches. But yeah,
but that's the one most famous for me.
They did it. Didn't Eddie and JBL have the same? Didn't they?
Maybe I don't.
But
remember
that was the finish.
Yeah.
That was the finish of that.
Yeah. But yeah, I love that spot.
I love that they embraced the whole red light, green light. The whole red light, green light theme.
I thought that was brilliant as well. Definitely a fan of this match. If Gunther versus Randy doesn't happen, this is clearly my match of the night. Like it's as clear as day.
Yeah. I think it's tight between the two, but
yes, I think this is the first time I couldn't give you. I can't give an honest response at the end, and I don't think I could. I think I'd have to give you like.
I think Randy and Gunther have to get it because I'm not a Randy Orton fan, and I freaking love this match.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this match. But yeah, speaking of enjoying matches, why don't we jump into the new Judgment Day versus the Terror Twins? Not the way I expected. I fully expected Rhea and Damian to lose, kind of like, the Judgment Day was going to continue to beat them, and then finally we would have Damian beat Finn and Rhea beat Liv in the future, like a Bad Blood or something like that, so that way they could get out of this feud. So this is interesting that this happened this way.
So what I'll say is I really liked the match. I thought it was very good. I thought it was well done. The one thing I didn't like, I don't think Damian should have gotten his hands on Finn yet. Because it kind of like closes the story.
Yeah, I don't think he fully got that. I think it was just enough. Like
I felt like he should have ran into the stands or something.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's definite. It almost feels like maybe we're gonna get it. Like I think we're gonna get the Demon versus Damian. Almost like Finn knows, like I have to do this to get him out. But if the Demon loses to Damian Priest, I'm sorry. I love Damian Priest. But if the Demon loses to Damian Priest, just retire the fucking character.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Yeah.
Because I think Damian has to win, and I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I agree with you in the sense that I would go a step further, if you'll allow me. I would have had Damian pin Dom. I would not have had Rhea pin Liv.
Sure, because there's really, I mean, yeah, there's heat there, but there's not like that's not who his main issues with.
Yeah, exactly. But having Rhea pin Liv, it doesn't feel like it just feels like okay. So like okay, so the rubber matches at Bad Blood, and I expect Liv to go
Rhea wins the
over.
title. Really,
Oh,
I didn't think
I
Rhea
don't
would win
think
the title.
no, I don't think so.
She
Not
doesn't need to.
personally.
She doesn't need it.
Yeah, that's why. I think and because as it was announced earlier today, the highest engagement in pro wrestling right now, like fans wise, 1, 2, and 3 is Roman, Rhea, Liv.
Okay.
So Liv is
I will.
like she's at top level.
I will say at the end of this match, I've never wanted to be Rhea Ripley more.
Yeah, there was a lot of people that had that sentiment. That was definitely a popular spot. The pretzel pin, as Rhea Ripley coined it after when she was interviewed. It's they asked her if she has a name for that pin, and she called it the pretzel pin. Damien tried to get her to coin it as the take it easy pin, but yeah, I mean, I thought this was a really good match too. The one thing that I think will go under the radar, so I'd like to say it here on our podcast. I think we need to start thinking about Damian Priest as like a surefire good match. Like this man does not put out stinkers in pro wrestling. There may be a mess up here and there, but for the most part, going back to Backlash or going back to his WrestleMania tag match against Miz and Morrison, this dude is like a PLE monster. Like I think there's a reason that he was world heavyweight champion, and it's just really cool to see. And man, I loved the double Razor's Edge. That was such a great.
Yeah, that was cool. That was really cool.
Really cool.
Yeah, Damien is that dude. As far as I'm concerned, he's a guy that we need to just include in that, in that echelon.
Yeah, he is definitely. He is the perfect marriage of Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. Just the perfect marriage. I mean,
you're absolutely right.
Both of those guys, like I may be of the mindset that Kevin Nash was kind of boring, but I would never come on here and say he was a shit worker. Like that's just not true.
Because he knew what to do.
Yes, and he was very effective. Yes, and he was very effective, and he put on really good matches, and yeah, he had more good matches than bad matches. That's what I will say.
See, that's the difference between him and a guy, and I hate to use this given the circumstances, and RIP to Sid, but that's a difference between him and a guy like Sid.
I don't understand that.
They're both big, strong guys that aren't the most mobile guys in the world, but Nash knew exactly what to do and when to do it. And Sid just wrestled kind of big. He's a guilty pleasure of mine, but
I disagree. I think Sid I think he had more good matches than bad matches. I just think that the reason it doesn't look that way, and obviously, like we said, wrestling's subjective, so this is just my personal opinion, it's because his big time matches tended to be really bad. Like when he wrestled guys like Sting, Lex Luger, when he wrestled guys like Chris Benoit, when he wrestled guys like that of that era, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart. Yeah, when he wrestled those guys, they weren't like top level matches because it was just like, okay, Sting was the franchise of this place. Luger was like a top guy of this place, but they were just really good matches. But when he wrestled Hogan, it was like, what is going on? And then when he wrestled Goldberg, it was like, why is this match even happening? Yeah, I think that's kind of what it is.
So I think to me the difference is like he had to be in there with someone who's really good, whereas Nash was smart enough that he could get the most out of whatever he was doing.
Agreed. Since we're talking about Sid, before we jump into the main event, I just want to say rest in peace, Sid. You're absolutely one of my favorite all time, like possibly my favorite big man. Definitely enjoyed you. Loved your Psycho Sid form, Sid Vicious. I love Sid Justice when he wore the singlet and he was a part of the Four Horsemen. Uh, definitely a fan. Loved his matches with Sting. I sent Tyler the match like the first time I saw him in 1991, where first match I saw him, he beat my favorite all-time wrestler for the World Heavyweight Championship. I mean, that's the first time I saw him.
The Survivor Series match with Shawn is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
It's just a really good match, and I mean, Sid obviously does his part and just comes off like a monster.
Agreed. And if I could just say one more thing before we jump into the main event. In every friendship in professional wrestling, every friendship that you've had, every circle of wrestling fans, here's one conversation that's happened. And I promise you, this is a conversation you've had. Who's better, Brett or Shawn? 100%. That is a conversation you've had. There's a lot of people like Tyler and I that feel like they're the two best wrestlers that have ever done it. Right? Like,
yeah,
we don't really.
I think it's weird. It's weird. Like, you're a Brett fan and I'm a Shawn fan, but I think Brett's better, and I think you think Shawn's better.
Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of how it goes. But, like, yeah, because I do believe that Shawn is the greatest to ever do it. I think he's Michael Jordan. To me, that's how I look at Shawn Michaels. He's Michael Jordan. But the reason that I bring this Brett and Shawn debate up, or this topic up, is because would you believe me, guys, if I told you that Sid beat Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart in back-to-back pay-per-views? Or he beat them for his back-to-back world title wins in WWE. Those are his two WWF championships. He beat Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. And I think that's pretty cool. That is
cool. That is cool.
Like, how many people can say that they did that? How many people in professional wrestling have beat both Bret for the World Heavyweight Championship and both Shawn for the World Heavyweight Championship? I don't know how many people that we could say that to.
In the course of I'm going to go to October because I think Vader's should be mentioned too.
Mm-hmm.
From October of 96 to March of 97, his pay-per-view opponents were Vader, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, and The Undertaker.
Just, you don't put a guy in a spot like that if you don't believe he's one of the best in the business.
At the very least, he's money. He's money. He can say that he drew money.
Absolutely. And you want to know, like Tyler said it perfectly. He's a guilty pleasure of yours, right? That's what you said?
Yeah.
A lot of people felt that way because he debuted in ECW and got like ridiculous level of reaction from that fan base. And all he did was go out there, chokeslam, powerbomb, walk out in blue jeans. And I just want to say a really cool story about Sid. There was a wrestler last week, and forgive me because I don't remember what wrestler. Oh, it was Rob Van Dam. Rob Van Dam had told a story on his podcast, and I want to bring light to it because it just speaks to the type of human being that Sid was. Rob Van Dam said that he was tasked early in his career to be a jobber, to just be an enhancement guy for Sid. Go make Sid look good. And Rob talks about that after the match. You know, he went out there, he took his bumps, he did whatever. He made Sid look good. And he said Sid personally sought him out. He walked up to him and he said, "Hey, man, I just want to thank you for everything you did for me out there. And I know it's not much, but here's some money to help you down the road." And apparently Sid did this to all enhancement guys. Everybody that made him look good, he sought them out in the back, thanked them, told them that if it wasn't for what they did in the ring, he wouldn't be where he is in the business. And he gave them some money because enhancement guys didn't get a lot of money back then. So that way they can have food or they can get an extra tank of gas or something. And I just think that's just such a really cool thing, finding that out about Sid.
That's tremendous. Yeah.
And for the people that are angry at Sid, that's a fake account. Okay. Like the one that keeps bashing Sasha Banks, that's a fake Sid account. That's not his real account. Remember, you can buy check marks on Twitter. Just wanted to remind people, for all the people that were all pissed off at Sid about the Sasha Banks thing. Well, we're going to talk about Sasha in a little bit here.
Even if it is really him, I mean, where's the lie?
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about her. Don't worry. We'll talk about her in a little bit. But let's jump into the main event of the evening. I mean, I don't know if I will have enough words to say on how spectacular this match was. Tyler, I think you said it best when you talked about how they listened to the crowd. It was definitely like looking at that meme on the internet with Spider-Man pointing at Spider-Man, because these guys wrestle very similar to one another. They're methodical. They are super story driven. Every move makes sense for the next move. There are no wasted movements. And man, I cannot be happier that we have a guy like Gunther as world heavyweight champion, because he's a monster heel. He is just a spectacular in-ring performer. And I love the fact, well, I think it's hard to be. I think it's hard for him to be a heel now. I think
he's like super like a competitor, and so that's why like the handshake at the end, because like, okay, you took me to my limits. I respect you.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's also really hard to root for someone when we're all wrestling fans, and this dude is out here saying that he wants to protect the business during a promo, where he cares about in the ring, where he wants to be the best wrestler in the world. And when he talks like that, you could tell he's genuine. Like, you could tell he feels like, I want you to look at wrestling like a competitive sport. It is not, and he bashed as the entertainment aspect of it, which I love. I love that, because we need that in this company. If only there were guys like that in the other company that were the opposite. You know,
maybe had a little bit of the entertainment aspect of it.
Wrong people. I think it could have worked with the right people, but maybe if like Christian was running that, I think it would have worked. But anyway, yeah, this match was to me just really great match. Love the fact that Randy can still go. I mean, holy crap. Like, he is the perfect wrestler. I mean, Brian said it best. He's the perfect wrestler. He just knows what to do out there. And he made Gunther look good. And this was the biggest ass whooping that Gunther's ever taken in his career thus far. And he still came out on top. This made him look super strong, almost like, you can give me everything you got, but I'm still going to win.
Right. I think that was a great and probably underrated aspect of the match, is like, it shows that like, this is what it's going to take and more.
1000%. Loved it. I thought I just really enjoyed what we saw here. So Tyler, if you were to rate this
and also I gotta say, just to have the lack of ego to agree to that finish.
Yeah. Yes.
It's like, so many guys would not do that.
You mean just pass out?
Yeah. Like, so many guys would just like, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, you got to hit me with your finish.
Right. I'm gonna power up, and you know.
Well, this is why this is actually why I love Gunther, because we don't know how he's going to beat you. He's beaten guys with so many different things. The power bomb. He's beaten guys with top rope splash. He's beaten guys with the sleeper. I mean, he's beaten guys with the Boston Crab. I mean, just, we don't know. He's just a machine out there. It's awesome. It's awesome. And yeah, man. I mean, Tyler, what would you review this pay-per-view?
So if we're going out of 10, I'd say maybe like a 7.5 to an 8.
Oh wow!
Again, I thought all the matches were really good. It was very predictable, and the commentary was terrible. So
okay.
Yeah. So it loses a couple points there, but other than that, I thought the performers did a good job.
Okay. I mean, I thought this was a 5 out of 5. I really did. I think that the show was so good to me that the good outweighs the bad. That's kind of how I look at it. I really enjoyed it, and as we talked about it earlier, the pay-per-view just progressively got better. I mean,
Right.
like,
and that's kind of how it should be, right? I mean,
yeah, I mean, it definitely was. We're going to talk about a pay-per-view here in a minute where it did not do that. It did not get better as the night went on. There were 3 good matches on a 9-match pay-per-view. It was just not great. But anyway, yeah, definitely enjoyed it. Guys, go check it out. It's on Peacock. Go check out the pay-per-view premium live event. I think you would really enjoy it. Love the fact that we have these like back-to-back weeks, back-to-back 1:00 shows. Like, amazing. It gives us time to gather our thoughts.
There's another one tomorrow night, right?
Oh, No Mercy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yep. I'm gonna have to watch that because I'm hoping that
we're being spammed.
Yeah, but it's great.
Being spammed with pay-per-views. So there's another one next week.
Yeah, because No Mercy last year was spectacular. Becky Lynch, Tiffany Stratton. I mean, I can't.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Yeah, right. I mean, you can't forget how good No Mercy is. Just a good pay-per-view. It's always been a good pay-per-view. It's a good luck name. That's what it is. It's a good luck name. It's what Money in the Bank used to be. Just Money in the Bank.
Wasn't that where Dragunov beat Trick as well? Not Trick. Carmelo. Mello. Yeah.
Yeah. And
it was one of their spectacular matches. I don't remember which one it was, but
yeah,
they had like 5.
No Mercy has my favorite Brock Lesnar versus Undertaker match. Their Hell in a Cell was amazing.
That I love that show.
There you go.
That also has that amazing tag match with Angle and Voldemort against Ray and Edge.
Oh yeah. Crazy. Can't believe Ray and Edge are tags together so much. Well, guys, we're going to jump ahead. We're going to give you a quick review on AEW All In. We're not going to go all in, no pun intended. We're not going to go all in because Tyler did not get a chance to watch the entire show. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to run down the show and let you know who won and who lost. And then I want you to just tell me if you thought it was the right decision. Okay. All right?
Yeah.
Opening match of the evening. Toni Storm versus Mariah May. Mariah May becomes the new AEW Women's Champion. What do you think?
Yeah, that makes sense. And I understand they tore the house down. I haven't gotten a chance to see it yet, but I understand it was awesome.
Yes. It was so good. Such a great match. Loved it. Thought the storytelling in it was spectacular. What I loved more than anything was that Toni Storm practically made her, the way you look at it. And not only does she take the loss to Mariah May, in back-to-back All-Ins in Wembley, Toni Storm loses the AEW Women's Championships. But she does it to her own finish. Mariah May hits her with a Storm Zero for the pin. Unbelievable. Thought that was great.
All right.
Yeah, ladies were just amazing. Kudos to Mr. Bryan Danielson for being the main reason Mariah May is with the company. Him going back and talking to Tony Khan, telling him like, "What'd you think of Mariah? We should bring her in." Just great choice, great decision. She is spectacular. Everything that we need in pro wrestling. I hope her and Tony's story is not anywhere near done. Next match, which I thought this was the end, but then we had a Dynamite match with these guys. Hook versus Jericho. What'd you think? What do you think? Hook wins the FTW championship.
Yeah, okay. Just next, please.
Yep. The Young Bucks defeated FTR and the Acclaimed, retaining the tag team championships.
Okay. I don't love it. I thought maybe the Acclaim should win. But whatever.
Hey, Xiong, thank you so much for joining us here on the show. Ni hao, I think that means hello. So hello to you too, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
I hope it means hello.
Yeah, I believe it does. So Tyler, the next match of the evening was the Casino Gauntlet, the winner getting a AEW World Heavyweight Championship match at their choosing. Here were the Gauntlet entrants: Orange Cassidy, Okada, Kyle O'Reilly, Zack Sabre Jr., Mr. Boring himself, Roderick Strong, Mark Briscoe, Hangman Adam Page, the legend Double J Jeff Jarrett, Christian Cage, Luchasaurus, the debut of Ricochet, and in a spectacularly hidden, just emotional moment, Nigel McGuinness, who looked amazing.
Yeah, so I actually did see some of this because somebody texted me mid-stroke.
Oh yeah.
And I had to turn it on.
Yeah.
So I did see some of this and some of the next match.
Mm-hmm.
These matches are always fun. That's all you can really say about them. They're fun. There's a lot of cool spots.
Yeah.
Not a ton of story probably, but a good enough winner. I think I probably would have had probably would have had. That would be something. I hope it doesn't happen. I probably would have had Hangman win if I'm being honest, because it would have cast some doubt on the winner of the main event.
Okay. Interesting.
But Christian's great, and I'm sure him and Brian will have a great match, and I'm good with that.
Yeah, I agree. I love the fact that Christian won, only because if it's not Christian, I feel like everyone else mentioned, people are going to be angry that those people didn't win. And if you're going to make people angry,
Christian,
you might as well.
You know he's not going to win.
Exactly. So, I mean,
that's an unfortunate freeze. Yeah, but he's right. Like, in the case of Christian, we know he's not going to win. But it's gonna be a good, put on a good performance. He froze there like mid bite. It was pretty funny.
What I was gonna say is, kudos to Nigel McGuinness, looking every bit like the pure world heavyweight champion, like the pure champion from Ring of Honor. He still looks spectacular, still does the corner spot, still the best clothesline in the business.
Absolutely.
In a match where the most popular superstar there, his finisher is a clothesline, and you still have the best clothesline this side of JBL. Just unbelievable. Spectacular. Loved it. Just love this match.
So what's funny about that is Nigel was just on Chris Van Vliet like 2 or 3 weeks ago saying that he had been bumping, but the only way he would come back is if he was facing Danielson.
Well, let's do it, baby. Give me that match. Let that be their.
Sure.
We better get that match. I love it. We know that they know how to protect each other.
They did discuss that maybe both of them retiring in the same match. That would be cool.
Love it. That would be a dream come true. Just love it. I feel like I'd have to fly to wherever that is to go watch that live. That'd have to be like my Sting moment.
If it's at the Orlando pay-per-view at the end of the year, I'm sorry to tell you that I will not be here.
Well, that's fucked up. Moving on, let's talk. Oh, okay. Moving on, let's talk about the third best match of the evening. I'll put it that way. MJF versus Will Ospreay. Tyler, your boy.
I'll allow it.
Versus my boy.
I don't know if I like the finish. or the results. It's hard to say because they're doing such good work that I didn't really want it to end, and I don't know if it is over.
Yeah. I agree. So we should both say that we talked about before the show. Their Dynamite match was better.
Yes.
This match, obviously, now we know after Dynamite that Daniel Garcia stole the ring, pawned it for his ticket to Wembley. That's why MJF didn't have the diamond ring there.
Oh my god, I fell asleep during Dynamite. Is that really the story?
Yes.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, that's a great story. I think MJF is like the perfect in-ring performer right now. I mean, just really good heel. He made Will Ospreay look like $1 million, and he bumped around for him a lot, and it made you hate him. And actually, I want to draw back to Bash in Berlin really quick because I wanted to say this to you specifically because I want your reaction to it. Today, while I was napping my daughter watching Bash in Berlin, I came up with this just epiphany. Liv Morgan's character has been in plain sight, and a lot of us just didn't see it. Her character is that she's unlikable. That's what it is, and she's playing it to perfection. She's too pretty. Right? She's just like, it's just like one of those things where you look at her and you're just like, yeah, I get it, but I just don't like you. You know, it's kind of one of those. He's like, it's just one of those type of things. She is the perfect MJF for the WWE. Like when she was getting beat up by Rhea Ripley today, I was so happy. Like I was just like, yeah. And then I thought, I was like, this is it. This is it. Like I was never supposed to like you.
And I forgot to mention that one spot that was like a running over the steps powerbomb into the barricade or whatever.
Brilliant. Yeah.
That looks so bad.
Oh, it was so like
it looks so brutal.
Can I just say, because I know this is gonna upset you, and then we'll move on to Britt Baker versus Mercedes. Can I just say that when that happened and she took the bump on the barricade, I thought to myself, damn, yo. I was gonna say, damn, Finn Balor needs to learn how to bump on that. Like, holy hell. I was like,
it was a whole different angle.
But the disrespect to have a spot like that when that is literally the reason why Finn Balor hasn't been champion since. Holy hell.
He's standing 6 feet away.
Yeah, just amazing. Yeah. Amazing. So I wanted to bring this up to you because I don't know if I discussed this with you. I don't think we talked about this match.
No. I have to take you to task for a second first.
Oh, go for
it. Because you did it earlier to me when we were talking about the Diamond Cutter and the Stunner.
Yes, okay, go for it.
You had some things to say about Will Ospreay on your little TikTok.
I did. Yes, I did.
And I gotta say, bro, when 98% of the world thinks he's amazing and you think he sucks, maybe you're the problem, Taylor Swift.
I mean, it's just kind of one of these things. Here's how I'm gonna put it. Do you want to know the reason when I figured out that I hated Hulk Hogan? Because if Patty was on the show right now, you know what Patty would say?
How are they the same?
I'm gonna tell you. If Patty was on the show right now, you know what he would call me? The OG Hogan hater. I've hated this man since I was a little boy. I've never been a Hogan fan. And I'm so glad that I have someone.
I'm with you.
Yeah. Tyler, I love that you said that because that's where I'm going. The moment I realized I hated Hulk Hogan is when Macho Man Randy Savage hit him with 4 elbow drops off the top rope, and he jumped up, hulked up, big boot, leg drop, pinned Macho. Like, the elbow drops were nothing.
Yeah, but that was 1989. They didn't do that then.
Then why is Will Ospreay wrestling like it's 1989? Why is he taking burning hammers, tombstones on the outside, Canadian destroyers?
I don't think your issue is with Will Ospreay, honestly.
I think my issue is with his style of wrestling.
I understand what you're saying, but I think, and I understand what understood what you were saying when you said, "Oh, well, if they didn't do this every match, the spot with Bryan and Swerve would have been more impactful." But the problem is not Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay's a big star and can do whatever the hell he wants because he's over. The crowd loves him, etc. It's when you got Roosh and Commander and all these other jabronis in the pre-show doing that shit.
Jabroni, but that's a hell of a name.
But you know what I mean? He's not
the
a star.
company that employs Hook, and you said Roosh. Jesus.
He's not a star in that company.
Agreed.
He's not portrayed as one. Mm-hmm. And when you've got guys like that are doing it in the pre-show and on friggin' Rampage, that's what's taking the impactfulness out of it.
Agreed.
Not guys like Orange or Will or whoever else Jim Cornette wants to bitch about this week.
Well, I like Orange a hell of a lot more than I like Will Ospreay. I feel like Orange. I just personal preference. I think Orange Cassidy is one of the best in that company. I think we've talked about it. I've never said anything negative about him. Yeah, I mean, he's just so good.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, he's so good.
That was
yeah, he's just a really brilliant performer. Yeah, I think for me, it's just like and I said this on a TikTok. He doesn't. I'm not comparing him to Hogan like the racist, the person who said what he said about Kamala Harris here. I'm saying that Will Ospreay, just the way he kicks out of finishers, the way he makes other people's finishers look so unimportant, in the fact that when he talks in real life, he talks about how he wants to protect this thing and how special it is to him. And I'm like, but you're part of the problem. Like he has the ability to make it like amazing. And here's the thing. In terms of in-ring performance, he has the ability to be like this generation's version of a hybrid AJ Styles, Shawn Michaels. And neither one of those guys did this shit. Like, that's what drives me nuts. Like, Shawn was known for taking beatings throughout the entire match, and then a sweet chin music out of nowhere, and there's the finish, because it was so important. AJ Styles, same thing in TNA. Took beatings from Samoa Joe, from Christopher Daniels, from Michael Shane, from Loki, from Amazing Red, from Kurt Angle, from Sting, from all of these guys, Jeff Jarrett, Rob Van Dam. And he made every single one of those guys look like $1 million. And I just find it very odd. Like, one of my most hated people on this planet is a guy named Nick Wright. I hate his hypotheticalness in sports. He can never give you a genuine response as to why he doesn't like someone. He has to say, well, you know why I don't like this guy? Because if you took this guy and you put him on this team, he wouldn't be good on that team. That's a hypothetical situation. You dislike someone because you created a scenario in your head. Here's what I will say. I have thought about this in the simplest way possible. If Will Ospreay was in WWE, I do not believe Undertaker would have requested to work him for his final match. And that's a fucking shame, because I feel like he probably gets a better match out of Will than he got out of AJ. Because of the way Will doesn't protect the business. That bothers me. That's my problem with him. But if I'm gonna do like the Tyler thing,
I don't see how he's not protecting the business.
Because, like I said, he makes every finisher look like it's not important. Like, it's so much worse than I've ever seen before.
That's not protecting the move. It's different than.
Yeah, it's almost like nothing you do to me. And I've had people argue this with me on Twitter and on TikTok, where they're like, dude, he's fighting strong style. This is the spirit, the fighting spirit. This is what they do. And I'm like, the difference between those guys like a Tatsuya Naito and a Kota Ibushi is when they fight out in their spirit, they're down for like an 8 count. Like, they will take a finish and then they'll hit you with like a German suplex or a tiger suplex or their finish. And then both guys are down. Will Ospreay will take your finish, and then in the very next spot, either kick out of your finish or reverse it, hit his move, and that's his power up. It's almost like, are you telling me that if this was WCW NWO Revenge, this is your thing that gives you the special? Taking a finisher gives you a special? The fuck? Are you Shang Tsung in Mortal Kombat? What the hell is going on here? Like, this is like, it's just, that's my pet peeve. If he could just fix that one part of it, I think he would be the perfect wrestler. I just want to see himself.
I don't think it's him that's like, he doesn't just do what he wants, you know?
So you think that Tony Khan is telling him, hey, when MJF hits you with his jumping pile driver, I want you to no sell it? You think that's what he told him? I don't think.
I think it's possible because remember, it came out that he had to fight to put Swerve over strong the way he did. So if that's the case, then it tells me that someone's telling him that they want him to look super strong.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, then Tony Khan's a moron.
Because he sold for Kenny, like.
But you've said that Kenny's his favorite. Like, that's his guy. Like,
no, I don't think he likes him at all.
In real life?
I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, that's sad. He'll never be as good as Kenny, but
no, most people won't.
No. But speaking of, since we're talking about such amazing talents, which Will Ospreay is, I want to get that out there before people think that I don't think he's amazing. Tyler did kind of jump in what I was saying there. If he fixed this one aspect for me, I feel like he would be the perfect wrestler. That's all. I do think he's that fucking good. But someone who thinks they're that good and who is not is someone who is still riding off of her Brooklyn match with Bayley, still riding off of her WrestleMania main event with Bianca, acting like those two matches have glorified her into being one of the greatest in-ring performers ever, which is Mercedes Moné. Listen, I have guested on another podcast, Tyler. It's called the Biconics Podcast. And I am friends with someone, his name's Mikey, and he runs that whole Biconics podcast. It's about 9 guys together. 9 guys and one lady that are all together. Mikey texted me during this match last week, and what he said, I was thinking the whole time, but I didn't know how to convey it to where people could just agree with it. Britt Baker outperformed Mercedes Moné in this match. She looked better than Mercedes. She carried this match. I don't know what happened to Mercedes, but this is not the Sasha Banks that we had in NXT. This is not the Sasha Banks that wrestled Bianca in the main event at WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I saw this match was next, and I was like, yeah, let's go to dinner.
Don't you like Britt?
I don't want to. Yeah, she's all right.
No, okay. I thought you liked her. Okay.
No, I mean, I think she's had some good matches. I think you've said some pretty aggressively hyperbolic things about her.
Yeah. Yes,
you
I
may
have
once compared her to Bastion Booger.
I did. So
when you do things like that, I have to defend her.
Yeah. Yeah. I have said some pretty negative things. Yeah. But I did write her a love letter, and she never answered me back. So that's
why you were spurned. Okay.
Yep. I was spurned.
I understand. I understand.
I poured my heart out to her, and she chose to be with Plastic Man, whatever you want to call him.
Plastic Man?
Yeah, Plastic Man from DC Comics. Just super thin, ever shrinking.
Does he break easily?
I think that is correct. Yeah, he's Mr. Glass from from Unbreakable. Yeah.
Poor Adam.
Heal up, man. Wrestling needs you. You're too good. Too good on the mic. Too good. Anyway, Yeah, I think that's a big deal. I think I turned a corner last year at Wembley. I think I said that on our podcast. I
You did,
felt
yeah.
like Britt Baker at Wembley. She was my favorite part of that match, and anybody who watches my TikToks, follows me on Twitter, knows that I'm a massive Paige fan. Love Paige. She was in that match, and I thought Britt was the star of the match, and I have felt this way for a while. Uh, uh, her feud with Thunder, I thought was great.
Mm-hmm.
The unfortunate
That lights out
incident,
match was lights out.
really good. Yeah, yeah. I thought her matches with Rio were good too. There's one of the guys in the Biconics likes to point out her match with Abaddon. I've personally never seen it, but I've heard it was really good.
Okay.
Like, so I'll have to check it out. I know Abaddon's a really good performer, so she's got a really good setup and everything like that. So yeah, I don't know what it is about Mercedes. She has all of the right stuff to be spectacular, and something isn't working. And I honestly don't know what it is, because this part should be the easy part for her.
Yeah, I think that she does not love wrestling. I think it's what she does. But I don't think she loves it.
That is sad.
And I think that's what has made her, or maybe she did at one time, but I think maybe it became more of a job than a passion for her. And since then, her performances have gone downhill. Because you're right, in NXT and early WWE main roster stuff, she was great.
Yeah.
A lot of great matches with Charlotte. Granted, Charlotte's great as well. That triple threat on Mania, what was it, 32, where they stole the show?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, not even Ric Flair being a pervert made the match bad. Like, I mean, it was just a really good match.
Well, that's just standard Ric Flair, but
Agreed. Yeah, I've said this on our pod before. I'll say it again. Mercedes is a gym rat. She is a frequent visitor of Hog Wrestling and is forever training with Amazing Red, the guy who taught her everything she knows. And she grew up loving Eddie Guerrero. That is her all-time favorite wrestler. I just never in my life thought that I would be watching her matches thinking what you just said. Like, I just think she doesn't have passion to be the best in-ring performer anymore.
You know what might be great for her is if she took like a month off and just went to Hog and just hung out and like rolled around and remembered why she loves this.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like she does.
Go down to TJ and Natty's or something.
Well, the thing is, whenever she posts clips of her at Hog, or Hog posts clips of her, she always looks phenomenal there. It's like, wow. It's like whenever, like, I don't know if you ever saw, and I hate to bring up this comparison. And
maybe that's what she loves.
Just training. Maybe that's what it is.
Being in that environment. Maybe she would be better if she was on the indies.
Agreed.
Go ahead with your comparison.
I was going to say, and I really don't want to make this comparison, but I feel like it warrants because of what we're watching right now. There was a time where the number one female trainer in the business was Brian Kendrick. There was a time where he was the guy who was training the women in professional wrestling, and they were going there to hone their craft, before like Amazing Red and TJ and all that stuff started like having all this stuff. And there's some clips out there with some really good performances by Eva Marie. And then she shows up in NXT, and all the shit we saw from the Brian Kendrick videos was like, where the fuck did all this stuff go? Because right now you look as green as the grass that's in my yard. Like, I don't understand the mistakes, the just everything. Doesn't make any sense, and that's what I'm seeing out of her right now. And
Did you think she's
there's
lost her confidence?
maybe. And Patty from Working the Marks, he used to say this all the time in private conversation. And please, Pat, don't get mad at me for sharing this with Tyler, because it was a private conversation. But he has said from the beginning, he said, who the fuck's she going to work when she goes over there? Like, who's on her level? Who's going to be as good as her that can just like make her and the rest of the women in that company look good? And we both had the same name. Like, it had to be Tony. And they've kept them away from each other. It makes no sense. It had to be Tony. And they didn't put her in there. Like, it's weird.
Well, she's had the opportunity to work with some talented people. Like, she's worked with Willow. She worked with Stephanie Vacour, although that match was really good.
Yes, but Steph made the decision to follow her dream.
And I like the match with Willow as well, actually.
The leg break match I thought was better. The one with the broken leg.
I have not seen that one.
Yeah, that was spectacular.
I just think that she from the jump when she came in, her promos were not good, and she's also lost her way in the ring in the last few months.
And I also think the finisher doesn't suit her. It's weird.
Yeah.
It just doesn't suit her. She's too small.
Why can't she just do the bank statement?
I don't know. Why don't we just quickly jump into this next match? Not a lot here, mostly just a surprise moment. Jack Perry versus Darby. This match was designed to be exactly what we got, which is it just got Jack Perry to be the number one contender for the AEW World Championship. So as announced 2 minutes before we signed on here, it's official. The main event of AEW All Out is Bryan Danielson defending his AEW World Championship against Jack Perry, the scapegoat. This match was fine. Coolest moment was the Sting coming to save Darby. A little too late. Darby lost the match. He gets put in the coffin, and they're about to light it on fire. Lights go out. Sting comes out. Beats up the Young Bucks. Just kind of saves them. No wrestling, just quick little spot. Look good. Sting looks as good as ever. Darby is, future world champ.
Evidently, that's the rumor.
Yeah. I don't have anything else negative to say about him. He was my favorite wrestler's favorite wrestler, so I'm going to just support him as much as I can.
Rumor is that he'll be the one to take the belt from Danielson.
Let's do it. Give me that.
Okay.
I think, I love it.
I mean, he's gotten the stamp from both Punk and Sting, so at this point.
Yeah, good for him. Love it. Can't wait to see him in the World Championship ride down on a skateboard.
That would be pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, I'm an old skateboarder. Love skateboarding, so definitely enjoy it. Not like Tony Hawk shit. Don't be asking me questions like that in the chat, guys. Just like just skateboarded from my house to school.
I want to see you do a ollie 1080 flip 920 whatever.
Nope. I could do an ollie, but that's about it. Let's jump into it's just a kick. But listen, let's talk about the main event of the evening. It is being widely regarded as one of the best World Championship matches ever. I have a very strong opinion about this. No, I do not agree with. But love the match. Loved it. Fully unexpected. Thought this was Bryan's end of his career. I thought this was it. Bryan defeats Swerve. I'll let you go first, because Bryan's my guy.
I haven't seen it. I fully expected that that's what was going to happen because I just didn't think he was just going to lose and retire.
Okay.
Seemed without a whole lot of fanfare. it makes more sense for him to have a retirement match, maybe against Nigel. But I mean, good for Brian. He's, I don't know if I said it on air, if it was a private conversation, or I said I think he has more integrity than just about anyone in the business, and he is, if not the best, certainly one of the top 5 best in the world. And I mean, I can't say enough about the guy. He deserves it, and he's worked his ass off to put other people over for 3 years, so I'm good with it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Personally, I think if it's not Shawn Michaels or Bret Hart, it's Brian. I believe that he is mentioned with those guys, in my opinion. I think he's that good. I don't know of any other guys that I would throw in there that perform like them. The other guy was supposed to wrestle CM Punk and didn't make the show. And, it's just, that's the only other guy I would ever say it would be as good as these guys. I love the fact that Brian won.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I love the fact that Brian won this match. I love that he beat Swerve. I have this thought in my head because I didn't allow myself to believe the Nigel stuff. I thought that if this was going to happen, that he would drop the title back to Swerve at Wrestle Dream, being that they're both Seattle boys and Wrestle Dream is in Seattle. So that's kind of how I looked at it. But definitely
Darby's from there too, though, isn't he?
Yes, he is. He is from there.
Yeah.
That's right. That's a great call. That was good. I forgot about that. That's a great call. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Brian's matches versus Hangman were better. Brian's match versus MJF was better. Brian's match versus Kenny Omega was better. Those are matches that I believe are just better than this match. I saw people say it was the best match Brian's ever had in AEW. I just don't think that's true. The one thing that annoyed me the most about this match, and I think this is kind of one of those things where like people tend to say things and be hyperbolic on the internet that just makes you not appreciate what you're watching. And it is, somebody put a side-by-side screen grab of Brian holding this championship and then his WrestleMania 30 win and saying, this is a bigger win than that. And I thought, he beat Triple H, Randy Orton, and Batista in the same night. In quite possibly the biggest story in professional wrestling. But here's what I want to say about Brian. And then I just wanted to wrap up talking about what Dolph Ziggler said on Busted Open, because I thought it was an interesting conversation. I thought you and I can get a lot out of it. So I think when we saw Bryan Danielson in WWE, he was the guy that wasn't supposed to succeed. I was a big fan of his. From June 7th, 2002, the first time I watched him wrestle, he wrestled Loki at Charity Hall in a tap-out match, and he tapped out to a standing armbar. Loki beat him with a standing armbar. To be able to watch him in like a bingo hall, not knowing, and he didn't even go by Bryan Danielson. He went by the American Dragon. That was his wrestling name. He wrestled with white tights, white kick pads, just brilliant. They beat the shit out of each other. From the moment I watched him, I thought he was spectacular. Finding out that he was trained by Shawn Michaels made me a bigger fan. Finding out that he was trained by William Regal made me an even bigger fan. I always thought he would be the guy who would make it to WWE. Never thought he would be world champion. He was too small. He looked way too small when he first debuted in NXT. I thought, wow, he does, like, WWE guys are just way bigger. But from him doing that to turning into quite possibly one of the greatest wrestlers ever, I just think that I think I've said this before, and I'm hesitant to say it now because of how deeply fond I am of Shawn Michaels, but I think it's a real conversation when Bryan retires that he may be like the guy who eclipses Shawn as the greatest ever, because the way their careers mirror each other is they were both the guys that were not supposed to make it. You can say whatever you want, guys. Shawn was not supposed to be that. He was not.
No, Bruce Pritchard's gone on and said that stop suggesting Shawn Michaels. He will never be world champion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then he became the best. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what makes Bryan so special. He got trained by him. That was his guy. And yeah, I mean, Regal, all of it. Just really great stuff. Really, I enjoyed it. I enjoy his whole career. Yep. One of my Mount Rushmore guys, and I have him in there. Sting, Bryan, Brett, Lesnar. Those are my guys. Those are the guys that I have in there. I've toyed with putting Roman in Lesnar's spot. I've toyed with putting Becky in Lesnar's spot, but just really hard to do because of what I watched. 2002 is when I first saw Lesnar too. So it's really weird. And yeah, I really enjoyed that. Really, really enjoyed it. But before we wrap up here, Tyler, I wanted to talk to you about something that Dolph Ziggler said on Busted Open, and I really love it. Oh, Nick Nemeth. Please don't sue us. Nick Nemeth. So he was asked, are you okay with Cody Rhodes being the WWE champion, with Cody Rhodes being the current face of WWE, but him not being the biggest story in these last couple of pay-per-views or PLEs?
Saw this morning.
Yeah, and Dolph said, I am okay with it because Cody's been the biggest story for the past 2 years. And I just wanted to know, based on our conversations here about Cody and stuff, what did you think of him saying that? What did you think about that conversation in general?
I agree with it because I think if we have the same focus every show, that's when like the resentment starts to come in. That's when people start to hate that guy. Like with Cena, like he was the focus of every show for so long that people just were like, that's when the Cena sucks thing started. So yeah, I don't know.
There's a lot of that now.
Really?
Yes, I am going to read you. I saved it because I wanted to read you I wanted to read you this thing that was said about Cody today, and I thought it was really interesting because I think it speaks volumes on I guess how people view Cody now. So one of the wrestling people on Twitter said, for the past 3 years, this title represented WWE. It symbolized Hall of Fame. It represented the greats like Hogan, Cena, Brock, etc. It was the focal point of every PLE, every SmackDown, even took over Raw a few times. The title's involvement in a feud elevated it 10 times. Roman Reigns rescued it from a traumatic times of Braun Strowman. And it's so sad to see how Triple H and Cody Rhodes have ruined this. No one cares about it anymore. We have a mid-card title and non-title feuds overshadowing this prestigious title. It's not too late to fix it, Triple H. Make Cody drop the title.
And who said this?
God damn it. Here we can open it again. I deleted it. Some dude.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Okay.
The only thing, what I can say about this is apparently this person hasn't been watching wrestling for the last 3 years because about 70% of the time the title wasn't even on TV. It wasn't on the PLE.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even a focus of anything unless Roman decided to show up, and that was part of one of the months like leading up to a marquee show that he was going to be on. And I don't want to say it like that because it's not his fault that that's when they chose to use him. But
okay.
But like, I don't understand how you can say that it was the focal point of every show when it wasn't on the majority of the shows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. So Tyler, I have some breaking news here. We can wrap up our pay-per-view with or we can wrap up our pay-per-view review with this breaking news. It's actually really good news. Happy. I think you'll be happy with this as well. It is an announcement from Lisa Marie Varon, also known as
Tara or Victoria.
Victoria in WWE. Here it is. My big announcement. Earlier this week, I signed a WWE Legends contract. I'm so excited and honored that WWE reached out to me to do this. It is a true honor to be a part of the WWE universe again. This doesn't mean that I will be hopping back into the ring, but never say never. It does mean I will be included in future things such as video games and maybe some official merch. Big thank you to WWE and all the fans and supporters. I hope you're as excited about this as I am. That's awesome. Victoria is a legend.
She deserves it. Yeah, she deserves
This
it.
is great. And honestly, I don't know if this doesn't happen without the TNA involvement because she is a legend in both. You know, like good for them, good for TNA and all of that. And the rumor is that Mickey will be making a return as a secretary to Nick Aldis, so that'll be pretty cool to see if maybe maybe Chelsea Green can't talk her shit no more. You know, like maybe Mickey puts to that. I think that'd be great.
Speaking of the TNA involvement, not to promote another podcast on our podcast, but if you have not yet listened to Scott D'Amore on the Chris Van Vliet show or Insight, I could not recommend it more.
Yeah.
Listened to it on the flight home the other day. Gave me some ideas. Had some interesting things to say. Like I think I told you earlier today. He said, I read an interview. This will be good for our listeners. I read an interview with a Hall of Famer talking about a young upstart. And he said, you know, he looks really phony and he doesn't really sell very well. I just can't get into it. So who do you think that is?
Will.
And who said it?
Jim Cornette.
It was Lou Thez talking about Harley Race.
Ah, that's right.
So the point is, every generation has had this get off my lawn bullshit that we see now. Because Harley Race is known as one of the most believable, toughest guys in the history of the business now.
Okay. Yes, he has been. He definitely is. No, I mean, that's great.
It's a really interesting interview. It gave me some character ideas. Nothing to announce just yet, but the wheels are turning.
I love it. Well, with that, guys, we'll let you guys go. Thank you so much for joining us. It was a long episode.
Sorry, can I say one more thing?
Go ahead.
Can I just talk about what nerds we actually are that we pulled out of our head Sid's 6 straight pay-per-view matches in a row in 96 and 97. Darby Allin's home address.
Yeah, love it. I love being a wrestling nerd. We're freaks and geeks. We're weirdos, whatever. I enjoy it. So it was a good time. Definitely a good time. We'll try to do this a lot more often, guys. We had some personal things we had to get through.
Now that I have a home.
Yeah. Now those things are moving in the right direction. While Tyler has a home, I have some good stuff that happened here in my life. I won't share that stuff, but Tyler knows what it is. And we're just excited to jump back in here, jump back in the fold. A year ago today,
he tried Blue Chew.
All this stuff. Yeah. Oh yeah, Blue Chew. Yeah. We're not going to make any of those ding dong jokes that Conrad makes over there at 83 weeks, but yeah, it was good. But you know,
it's a year since the Airport Chronicles. You're right.
That's right. That's when everything kicked off, and definitely needed that. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Please catch us on, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook. We are all over the place. He is Grizzly Canadian on Twitter. I am Lewis RE26 on Twitter. If you want to jump over and have some conversations with us, we would love that. And yeah, guys, until next time, we're out.
Out.
Yeah.